Hi, welcome back to Mr. Fair's Science Classroom. Today we're going to be talking about NTI assignments 17 and 18 for the week of May 4th through the 8th. Your assignment for this week is to watch this video and complete the Energy Flow and Ecosystems What's for Dinner instructional packet, which includes reading passages and questions for each section. Once you have finished the passages and questions, you have 2 short quizzes to complete for this week, and that is your last assignment for science class this year. Today we're going to talk about what a producer, a consumer, a food chain, a food web, and an energy pyramid have to do with an ecosystem, how that energy flows throughout an ecosystem. An organism gets its food from either eating other organisms or getting energy from sunlight or chemicals. When an organism eats another one, the energy in that organism is being transferred from the one that is being eaten to the one that is doing the eating. Energy flow through an organism population community is called an energy flow. When energy moves, it does not make a cycle, so it doesn't keep continuously cycling through. It actually goes from one source to the other, so it's a one-way transfer. Scientists classify organisms by the way they get their energy they need to survive. Some organisms, such as plants, capture the sun's energy and turn it into energy-rich sugars that they use for food. Now, of course, you know this to be called photosynthesis. And plants use their leaves like big solar receptors. They absorb the oxygen in the water, and then the carbon dioxide in the water. Then they produce sugars from that photosynthesis and the chloroplast and chlorophyll from the light of the sun, and then they give off oxygen. A few organisms are able to capture chemicals in the environment and make food through chemiosynthesis. These are typically plants at the bottom of the ocean that do not have sunlight. It's too dark. The sunlight can't penetrate through the water. So they get their energy from the chemicals that are released in the ocean floor. Other organisms do not capture energy from sunlight or chemicals, but they must obtain their energy by eating food. That's what we are. We can't go out and lay in the sun and get full, or if we're hungry, just lay out in the sun and get filled up. We can't produce our own energy, so we have to go and eat. And that's how all animals that do not have photosynthesis have to operate. Organisms that cannot make their own food from the sun depend on organisms that can. So we are at the dependency of plants, those that can use photosynthesis to make energy. A producer is any organism that can take energy from the sun and produce food energy. A producer is called an autotroph because they're the only organisms in the environment that can produce their own food. How does energy move from one producer to another organism? The answer is when animals eat plants, those that are herbivores or omnivores, then those animals are eaten by other predators that are typically carnivores. Consumers use energy and nutrients stored in the organisms for living and reproducing. Those are called heterotrophs. Consumers are classified by herbivores, omnivores, carnivores, or detrivores based on their diet. Now, you probably have heard of the first 3. Detrivores are your decomposers. They're the ones that eat things that are dead or dying and break them down. Herbivores are animals that only eat producers, such as plants, cows, goats, sheep, etc. Omnivores, such as human beings, bears, and mice, they can eat both animals and plants. And then carnivores, such as lions, they only eat other consumers. They're just the meat eaters. And then there's the detrivores. They include the insects, fungi, worms, bacteria, protists. They eat dead plants or animal materials. They're the ones that break down, the decomposers. A food chain shows how energy moves in the environment through several organisms. So in this case, you have the sunflower that's eaten by the grasshopper is eaten by the mouse is eaten by the snake. It's a one-way system. Each stage of the food chain has less available energy than the last one because some food energy is converted to thermal energy or that moves through the environment. So in a mouse, for example, burns up energy that it eats from the grasshopper when it moves around or to make body temperature or to be able to, like when we exercise, we burn off energy and we get hungry and we have to eat again. A food web actually shows the several different connected food chains. And here's one that's a desert where you can see there's a snake, and the snake can eat several different things. The finches, the raven that's at the top can eat several different things. The cactus and the different plants can be eaten by the tortoise or the hare or the little muskrats or even the ferret that's down here at the bottom. So a lot of different things can be eaten there in that food web. Food chains and food webs are modeled to help people understand how energy moves through a community. Terrestrial and aquatic organisms can interact within a food chain or a food web. So that means on land, terrestrial, aquatic, and water. Food webs show that energy can move through several different pathways. Cows just don't eat grass. They can eat the leaves off of shrubs. They can eat the grasses. They can eat hay that's already produced for them in the barn. They can eat grains, corn, different things. So they don't just eat one thing. They have several different pathways that they can eat. An energy pyramid shows the available energy for a community. The more energy is available at the bottom of the pyramid is where the producers are. As you move up, there's less available energy. Food energy from the producers move to the consumers at the next level. Each level of pyramid has only a smaller amount of usable energy. The top level usually is the carnivore or the omnivore, depending on what ecosystem you're talking about, but that's at the top. The rule of 10% means that only 10% of the energy is available to the consumer in the next level as you move up. So the grass only gives 10% of its energy to the grasshopper. The finches only get 10% from the grasshoppers, and then the coyote or the little wolf at the top, when it eats the finch, only gets 10% of that energy. So it decreases every time. And as you go up, the number of population has to be less in order for that ecosystem to sustain. Now we talk about the way food, vitamins, minerals, water that you need cycle through an environment. Matter is made up of the physical materials of the world around us. Most matter in your body is water. Your body also contains carbon and oxygen. Like energy, the matter is not created or destroyed, but it transfers throughout the environment. Unlike energy, though, matter moves in a cycle. The water cycle we all know. Evaporation happens from the water, it condenses into a cloud. The cloud eventually gets so much water vapor that it causes precipitation and runoff into lakes, streams, in your yard, and then evaporation takes place again. The oxygen cycle is very similar. We breathe in the oxygen that is given off by plants. We give off carbon dioxide, which is absorbed by the plants, used as part of the photosynthetic process of making energy. And that cycle just keeps repeating. And then the last one's carbon. Carbon is the building block of all matter. It's in the sugars that plants produce. It's in the carbon dioxide that plants use that we breathe out. It's in the materials in our body. Anything that is organic material has carbon in it. Large fossil fuels, whether it be gas, coal, oil, all those are remnants of dead plants and animals that have been buried down deep in the earth. Layers of earth have heated up that material, and all that's left is pure carbon. So when we burn our cars, we give off carbon monoxide, which has carbon in it. We also, when we breathe out, we also will give off carbon dioxide. When things decompose in the forest, they will also give off carbon as well. All right, so here's the packet that you're going to have. It's an attachment. You're going to have 2 sections of reading followed by some questions. Then you're going to have a set of quizzes at the end, very simple. The quizzes are going to be directly related back to the packet handout that you have. I'm also going to attach this PowerPoint along with a packet that'll be an attachment, a Word document, and then also this video will also be in the assignment. And I may even take and add another free school video that we've watched before, a different one about food webs and food chains. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please post on Google Classroom any questions you might have. Thank you very much.